Are the Eagles in trouble or is everybody overreacting? Let's talk about it. On Monday, the Eagles lost to the Chargers by a score of 22-19, and this has sent the sports world into a frenzy. People are saying Jalen Hurts is a bottom 15 quarterback. People are saying Saquon Barkley is washed. There has been a lot of narratives going on around this Eagles team, and I want to talk about some of it. I think the best place to start with this team is let's talk about their last game against the Chargers. There's no way around it. Jalen Hurts probably had his worst game of his career. He just did not look good. He was missing throws. He was throwing interceptions. He just looked terrible. To me, the Philadelphia Eagles have a lot of issues, but I think it's easier for people to zone in on Jalen Hurts because of the narrative that has surrounded him throughout his career. Don't get me wrong, that game against the Chargers, Jalen Hurts just played terrible. It was probably the worst game I've seen him play. There's no way around it, and there's no excuses to be made. He just had a terrible game, and he cost his team a lot in this game. The conversation around Jalen Hurts is always interesting to me because I'll see some people have him in top 5. I'll see some people say he's bottom 15. I saw today somebody said they'd rather take Jackson Dart over Jalen Hurts. And I'm just very confused about this conversation. Here's the thing. Do I think Jalen Hurts is a top 5 quarterback right now? No. But the thing is, does he need to be? Jalen Hurts gets a lot of backlash because he has a great team around him. And I just don't understand that argument because wouldn't you want to put great pieces around your quarterback? Isn't that the purpose of having a great team? And I know the argument kind of steers off to, does he elevate the team? I do think there's situations where he doesn't, but I do think Jalen Hurts has shown enough to where he can elevate this team when he needs it. It just has not been consistent this season. So you can't have this argument where we're faulting Jalen Hurts for having great pieces around him and then go and say something like, oh, Josh Allen doesn't have any help or Lamar Jackson doesn't have any help. When these quarterbacks do get help, y'all penalize them for it. Y'all say, oh, they aren't as great because they have this player. And when they don't have it, then you'll be like, oh, they aren't great because they don't have what everybody else has. So it's like a slippery slope where I feel like NFL fans don't really know what they want. And I don't know where that started. I think when people see somebody as historically great as Tom Brady, maybe take some of the not the best teams to the playoffs and win Super Bowls. You got to understand, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, quarterbacks like that are like dimes a dozen. You won't always get quarterbacks of that caliber to where they can overcome maybe not great or elevate the wide receivers around them. That is historically great quarterbacks. Every quarterback in the league isn't going to be historically great. You see Patrick Mahomes is having a great season, but he cannot do enough to elevate all of the other things that are happening on that offense. He just can't do it. But yeah, I don't like a lot of the narrative that happens when we talk about Jalen Hurts as a quarterback, but I do agree. The last month, he has not played well. Honestly, I don't think the Eagles team has played great this season, at least from what we saw from last season. Saquon Barkley is having a down year. He is not running effectively as he was last year, not even half as effectively. He looks kind of like a shell of himself this season. He had a great game Monday against the Chargers, but outside of that, he's just had games where it's just like, the defense is great against the pass, but they are not good against the run. Then the Eagles play call, it just leaves a lot to be desired. I really hate what the Eagles do in RPO. The Eagles have run over 70 RPO plays. Let's say I think they ran like 75, 76, somewhere in that range. Out of 75, 76 of those RPO actions, 64 of them have been passes. They aren't mixing up RPO enough. I think they only have like 10 runs out of RPO. That makes your RPO really one-dimensional. People know what you're going to do when you're going to RPO. You have Saquon Barkley. Why aren't we switching up? Why aren't we making your RPO more diverse? Why is your RPO always like, I'm going to direct, like we know Jalen Hurts is going to pass. So I don't really love the way the Eagles have been running RPO this season. So that's one thing I haven't loved about their play calling. Another thing is I don't understand why the Eagles don't run play action more. Listen, I get it. Saquon Barkley is having a down year, but teams are still going to game plan for him. He is still a threat. The name Saquon Barkley alone will make defenses go to him. listen, you're running play action with Saquon Barkley. That opens up a lot for the Eagles offense. I think Jalen Hurts is way better out of play action. That gives him the ability to use his legs. If his reads aren't there, he can scramble. The threat of Saquon Barkley actually running the ball. I think I saw a stat where the Eagles are almost last in the league in play action, and that makes zero sense to me. And I feel like the Eagles don't put Jalen Hurts under center enough. A lot of times the Eagles are passing out of shotgun. They're running out of shotgun. I feel like they need to put Jalen Hurts under center. I don't know if it's a situation where he doesn't feel comfortable under center, but to me, they're extremely... Go back to that Vikings game. If you go look at the Eagles versus the Vikings, there was a stretch where Jalen Hurts was running play action from under center, and he looked incredible. I don't understand why they don't continue to do that. I believe two things can be true. The Eagles currently aren't playing great, and they should be concerned. There's a lot of issues going on with their play calling. Jalen Hurts hasn't been playing great. Saquon Barkley is having a down year. Your defense is middle of the road in pass offense. In rush defense, they aren't that great at all. At the same time, I do think the internet is overreacting a bit. I've seen people say they should bench Jalen Hurts, which is crazy to me. I've seen people say Jalen Hurts is a bottom 10 quarterback in the league, which is absolutely crazy if you've actually watched some of the other teams. A lot to be said about this Eagles team, and I don't think the issue just lies in the play calling. I don't think it's just Kevin Patullo. I don't think it's just Jalen Hurts. I don't think it's just Saquon Barkley. I don't think it's just their offensive line. I don't think it's just their rush defense. I don't think it's just their pass defense. I don't think it's just their wide receivers. To me, the Eagles have a collection of issues. The Eagles have a lot to fix in a short amount of time, so hopefully they can right the ship. Hopefully we get some more dynamic play calling from them. Please put Jalen Hurts under center. We will see what happens with this team. I'm not out on the Eagles yet. I still think they will make a push for the playoffs. I know the Cowboys are like, what? I think this is weird because the Cowboys are 6-6-1. So the Cowboys are technically, I don't even know. Are the Cowboys 2 games behind 3? I don't know. But the Cowboys are close enough to where they could possibly win this division if the Eagles don't clean it up. But we will see what happens with the Philadelphia Eagles. And I'm going to continue to watch them, kind of see how they evolve. But let me know what you think about the Eagles in the comment section. How do you feel about Jalen Hurts? Like I said, my thoughts about Jalen Hurts is I don't penalize him for having a great team because you should want any quarterback in the NFL to have a great team. I think it goes back to that argument Cam Newton was having where he was like, are you elevating your team or you're a game manager? And I think a lot of people took that as something bad because there are some great QBs who are just game managers. There's also QBs who elevate. I think Jalen Hurts right now for me is a quarterback where, yes, of course he benefits from a great team, but what quarterback doesn't if they're put in a great situation? So do I think he's top 5? No, but I don't think he's necessarily bottom 15. To me, that's crazy. So let me know what you feel about him in the comment section below. And as always, everybody, enjoy football.